hospital. And in the midst of all of that going on, we had just gotten a deal offer from Priority Records. And we were on the phone with the lawyer and with our other partner who was working with us at the time with Priority, going over the deal and all of that stuff. And we only had that day to talk about it. But it just so happened to also be the day that I was having our C-section for our son. And I was like, so I have two options. I can either tell them I can't do it and hope that they come back, which more than likely they wouldn't have.
Oh, yeah, not what you need, and that is all. Nothing to say. Try to take my spot, yeah. You better breathe. Don't run, cause I will spray.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Music. And y'all know how we do it. We just gonna go ahead and dive right into it. Being married, having shorties in the music industry. How is it? How do you navigate that? Is that the right move to make? Y'all know what it is. You know me and Angela, we've been married for a little while now. We got 3 beautiful kids. I know she doesn't look like she pushed Jenny out, but you know, we've just been we've been navigating that for a while now. So, you know, I'm curious to see what are your thoughts.
Well, being married and being in the industry is no easy feat. It definitely can be overwhelming sometimes with balancing being a wife and a mom and an entrepreneur. But, you know, it's just about finding balance and finding the time to tend to each of those responsibilities and each of those duties. So I like to keep my calendar and my reminders on my iPhone really super organized, so that way I can know exactly what I need to do and when I need to do it. And then I coincide that with like my wife and mom duties. So that way nothing is overlapping and I'm able to give each thing the time and attention that it needs, and things don't slip and fall to the wayside. So that's pretty much how I navigate it. Sounds way easier said than done. But what about you as a hubby and an artist and entrepreneur extraordinaire?
I think it's an interesting dynamic because as an artist, it's like, you know, especially as an R&B artist, like one is supposed to be like that sex symbol. And what does that look like when you're in a committed relationship and you got shorties and all the rest of that stuff? What does that look like? How can you be that sex symbol? How can you be that heartthrob? But then at the same time, it's like in the society that we live in and in the industry that we're currently moving through, it continues to evolve. And I feel like because of people being so bent on couple goals that now, like, that's not something that is so much frowned upon as much as it was 10 years ago, whatever that in between was, because now it's like people are looking, and because relationships don't tend to really work out as much as they used to, and people are struggling to find committed long-term relationships, especially because of hookup culture and things like that. It's like when people see that now and they see people who are committed to one another and people who have a beautiful family and all the rest of that stuff is something that people strive to obtain. So it's something that people are now drawn to. There was a particular point in time when that was the normal, to be inside of a long-term committed relationship. So people weren't really impressed by it, and it was somewhat of a turnoff. It was like, oh, well, you know, you hung up your player card. You really shouldn't be doing this anymore. But now it's like, because being inside of a long-term committed relationship, especially as a male, is so rare now that it's almost like anybody that's doing it, especially as a male, is a unicorn. So people are like attracted to that now. People are like, oh, I like that. Like, you know what I mean? Just around the board. And then just like, as far as like navigating that and trying to make sense of it, I mean, you know, there are a lot of ground rules and a lot of open communication that goes into that to ensure that there is balance and that there's transparency. So that could be tough at times, but.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like, because I know there's a lot of people who have asked me over the years, how do you deal? How do you do it with your husband being an R&B artist and being, like you said, a sex symbol in some people's eyes? Like, how do I, as a woman, deal with that. And for me, like it took adjusting over the years of trying to figure out like what that looked like, and not figuring out like how to respond to it, but just figuring out like what that meant for us and how far would that go. And you know, it took time, but for us, I think that it took balance, time, and adjustment to really figure out how to navigate that as your wife, and at the time as your girlfriend when we first started dating. But I think it was about, just like you said, having open lines of communication and knowing where and what we were going to be doing. And as far as the songs you were singing, like what were the lyrical content going to be like, and not taking it that serious for me, from my perspective, because music is music and art is art. And I had to take my feelings out of the art, so to speak, from where I sat, because that was just an expression of whatever you were feeling at the time or what you were inspired by. If it was like a raunchy or a sexy song, and initially those types of things would make me feel uncomfortable. But now I'm in a space, and we're in a space in our relationship where I really understand a lot of that stuff. So it doesn't really bother me, because I'm not taking it like, ooh, he's trying to be sexy or be this or be that for a particular person or a particular reason. It's not really that serious, because it's your job. Like
Right.
I can't be upset at you doing a part of what it is or is about being your particular type of R&B artist. So I think it's about just really understanding each other, understanding what comes with the job, understanding what comes with being a musician in general, knowing that you're going to be the center of attention and a lot of people are going to like you, and those types of things just have to be okay. So that's how I navigate.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I think it's an interesting dynamic, and you know, it wasn't always this easy for either of us, because you know, we had a lot of disagreements and a lot of bickering and a lot of tension, especially for me, like me being inside of the industry for quite a bit of time prior to introducing you into the picture. It's like that was my normal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't your normal. So because of that, it was like, for me, it was like, oh, I mean, this is normal to me. I mean, but for you, it was like, yo, what are you doing?
Right. Who is this? What are we talking about?
So it's like we had to balance that out and try and figure out a middle ground. So I know on my end, it took a lot of patience for me to slowly kind of have you make it there to that point, and then being patient while you made it to that point, even though I was already there, and realizing like, okay, well, just because I'm already here, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It's like when a math teacher is teaching math, like, bro, you've seen this before. Like,
right.
You know exactly what's going on because you've seen it before, but be patient with your student because your student has never seen this. So like having those types of perspectives really helped me through it. And you know, we still have our disagreements here and there, especially like for those of you that don't know, like we have like a label together. The name of the label is called Vitae Records, and we're both headstrong people. So, you know, we have a lot of disagreements in that way too, of what directions we should go in next and why we should go in that direction, and like really trying to figure out how to navigate that, because it's not about whose idea is better or whatever. Yeah. It's just about figuring out what's going to work and what's not going to work, and why we want to do a certain thing at a certain time versus not doing it. And that's been a very interesting dynamic over the years. And a lot of people are like, you know, if I worked with my wife or I worked with my husband, like I'd kill myself because I don't understand how y'all do it. And it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's constantly checking one's ego and making sure that the other person is doing well emotionally and things like that. And that takes time and growth and patience and effort. And if people aren't putting the effort into it, then it's never going to pan out.
Yeah, I agree. And well, first I'll thank you for being patient with me during those years, because I definitely I had no idea what I was in for, what I was going into until it started like unfolding before my eyes. And it was like shell shocking because I'm from a completely different walk of life and I was not in the music industry in any way, shape, or form. I saw it, but you know, it's way different being a consumer of music than being a part of the industry. It's like a completely different window. So the perspective that you stand from when you're on the other side of the spectrum is just completely different from what you would expect it to be. And that was a difficult adjustment because I had to like learn how to understand like being in sessions and being around all of the fans and the time commitment that it took, because a lot of people, you guys see the end product, the 3-minute and 30-second song or the 32-minute album. But what you don't see are the hours and hours and hours that it takes to even write the song or produce the music and produce the album and packaging everything together and making everything cohesive. Like that takes hours, days, weeks, months, depending on what it is you're working on. And from where I was, that was like, okay, you said you're going to go write a song, so write the song. I can't take that long because I'm thinking in my head, like, it's a 3-minute song. It can only take like an hour to write the song, but it would take forever. And then I didn't understand like all of the talking in between. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all be in sessions talking off. And I didn't understand all of that in the beginning. But then I realized that, as Beacock says all the time, that the song is in the conversation.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times when your boo, who is an artist, is out and having a lot of these conversations in the studio, and the studio session is like 8 hours long, maybe a good 3 to 4 is like
just
talking.
Yeah.
And I used to be sitting there like, what
When
are y'all
gonna get
talking
to
about? When are you guys gonna start working? And I've talked to my female counterparts in the industry who are married or in relationships, and that's like a big struggle with a lot of people, is figuring out how to manage that time commitment and how they fit in. And fortunately for us, like I found where I fit in with co-owning the label with you and managing you. And so when I'm in those sessions, I'm kind of in the mix too.
Right.
But even when I'm not an active part of the conversation, like I've just learned ways to adjust and like pull what I can and what is useful for me out of those conversations and those interactions with people, and really just understanding that time commitment that it takes from you as the artist is just a necessary and normal part of the industry, and there's nothing that you can do to change it. So it's like accepting that and being patient on my side with you, and knowing that it's not you personally trying to like take all of this time. It's just, it takes time to create good music and a good body of work. And in order for you to put your best foot forward in the industry, you have to take that time.
That's true. And let's not even get started on now adding the kids into the mix. Like for those of you that don't know, like we got 3 little ones. Matthew, he's 8. Athena, she will be 6.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah, he is 4.
My baby.
So it's like,
Don't
first
talk
of
about it.
first of all, kudos to Angela, because she pushed all 3 of they big head cells out. And she doesn't even look like she did. So I mean, it just goes to show
Thank
like she
you.
takes care of herself. She takes care of her body. She's beautiful. And
I love you.
I love you too. And you know that, like, that's just a whole nother dynamic, because I mean at the end of the day, you know, like kids need time, kids need love, kids need affection, kids need patience.
Yeah.
And like, how do you do that? And then like on top of that, like, let's not even get started with when we walk out in public and people think that we're like teen parents and they're or or something like that. Like it's like, oh, you poor things, like we over here grown as ever.
Yeah.
And like they think that little Matthew is like my little brother or something.
Yeah.
Or
That happens a lot.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just like, it's an interesting dynamic. And like, even with the homeschooling and all the rest of that stuff, like, you know, I went full blown teacher out here. Like I'm like teaching
Mr.
these
Matt B.
right, like call me Sir Matt B or something like I'm teaching these kids, and it's like this was before the pandemic.
Yeah, we've
So it's
always
like-
homeschooled our kids.
So it's like that's something that like we take pride in, like teaching all of our children how to read, teaching all of our children how to write, like knowing those ins and outs of their education, because that's so important. While at the same time, one of the reasons why we decided to homeschool them is to have that flexibility, because
Yeah.
I mean we travel a lot. And especially before the pandemic, and like doing shows back to back and tours and photo shoots and video shoots and all the rest of that stuff,
Yeah.
and still at the same time trying to make sure that their education doesn't suffer because of it. And what made the most sense was doing the homeschooling, because it gave us the flexibility where they only get instructed 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 times they're like doing like tutoring and stuff with an outside aid or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's like figuring out what does that look like. And sometimes they may have the entire week off where they just don't do it at all. And then like we're playing catch up and we're trying to do all that. But like it's effective because all of our kids are a grade and a half to 2 grades above what they should be. So that's amazing because we've gotten them assessed. And that is
smart
what,
babies.
right? Like it just goes to show, like it's still effective if you do it the right way. But yeah, it's definitely been tough. It's been really tough just to balance all of that.
And one thing that I wanted to speak on too, because I know that because of the quarantine, there are a lot of new moms out there. And for me, when I was a new mom and we had really small babies and little ones, it was super difficult to balance all of that time. And I remember and you remember these days, we'd be flying and I'd have my little breast pump bag.
Yeah.
And I was like that crazy super mom who was determined to be like, I'm breastfeeding all of my kids from the moment that they're born until they decide that they wean on their own. So with all of our kids, I had my breast pump bag and all of my materials, and I would travel from city to city to city, and I would pump the milk on the plane, pump the milk in hotel rooms, in Airbnbs. One thing that people don't know that I've never really publicly said this before, but when Matt was recording his album inside of Southside Studios and at Red Zone, I literally was like working on the album, and I'd be like, I'll be right back. And then I'd find a piano room or some other random place in the studio, and I'd be breast pumping the milk and FaceTiming the kids and talking to them like, hi, I miss you, I love you, okay, mommy's gotta go. And then I'd seal the milk up, put it inside of the refrigerator, because all the studios had like a little kitchen area, and then I'd have all the milk there, and at the end of the day, package it up in a what do they call it, like a little refrigerated box, and then I'd FedEx it home overnight and do that with our kids. And that was I'm tired talking about it, but that was like how I was able to balance still doing my mother responsibilities while also balancing that with work, because I couldn't stay home while you were recording your album and all of your other projects, because you needed me as not only the manager and the label owner, but as a wife to support you through a lot of that stuff. That was a lot of new happening, and I didn't want to abandon you when you needed me the most. But in the same breath, our kids needed us too. So I still was trying to commit that time as a new mom with our newborn babies and our small babies at the time, to give them the best that they needed, which was my time and my attention and breastfeeding and all of that stuff. But you know, that came with a lot of dedication and commitment and determination and grit. And I encourage all moms and all women, if they're traveling a lot or if you're an entrepreneur or whatever the case may be, don't feel like you are restricted. Know that there are options and that there's ways to still get it done and still give your kids the best while also not giving up on whatever it is that your dream is. You can do it. Just know she's gonna be tired. Because I was extremely tired.
Yeah.
And you saw that was not easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, even like the dynamic between the children and the fact like here I am, this celebrity artist who's on TV, and they see my music videos and they see all the rest of these things. They hear my songs in their infant stages. Sometimes, like, you know, I'm holding them in my arms while tracking my rough vocals in my studio at the crib.
That.
And then from there, like, you know, we go into a studio and then we'll record. Or sometimes I might just track my vocals just at the crib. It just depends on how I feel. But, like to them, it's just like I ain't nobody. I'm just,
You're just dad.
I'm just dada. Like they're just, oh, I like your song. Or sometimes they'll tell me, like, I don't like that one. Or they'll tell me, like, turn that one off.
My favorite is when Noah, when he doesn't like a song, he'll just cry. And then we'll be like, Noah, what's wrong? And he'll be like, Dada, I don't like this one.
Talk about some humble pie. Now I got so many fans out there that would love to hear some of my demo records or something like that. But instead, like, he's like this.
Yeah.
Like, turn it off. Why you torturing me? So it's like, God. But I mean, you know, that's dope. And like, to me, like, that's like some humble pie, because it's like, how great is that I get to go and I get to hit these stages and I get to have people just be like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, I'm meeting you. Like, this is so crazy. They can't even believe it when I inbox them back or whatever. And then I'm turning around and, like, now I'm wiping a dirty diaper.
And your kid is telling you your music sucks.
Right.
And they want to watch Bluey.
Right. Like, man, turn that off. Like, man, that was decent. But, man, could you turn on Daniel Tiger, though? Like, that's my...
Daniel Tiger be hitting it.
Right. Or like they'll ask you, oh, do you have a performance? Do you have a whatever? Like, you know, they don't really understand it.
No.
They don't understand it. But I mean, as they get older and as they've gotten older, they have learned. And you know, all of us work like from me to the youngest, like everybody works. So it's like everybody has a position. Like all our kids, like for those of you that don't know, like they model. Yeah. So like they've been modeling ever since they were like newborn. So from
signed to an agency.
Yeah, doing like VTech ads and all the rest of that stuff. So it's like everybody works. Everybody pulling their weight around here. Everybody got W-2s at the end of the year. Like, you feel me? So
I think that and that's true, and like it takes a lot for them to navigate too as children. But you know, we keep our kids pretty sheltered. We don't allow them to see a lot of what happens in the mainstream industry, because there's a lot of craziness that happens.
Yeah. And
it's our responsibility as parents to make sure that they see and hear the right music and the right content. So even like some of Matt's songs, we don't play around them.
Yeah.
And it's about being smart and protecting your kids and not allowing them to be like in a lot of the sessions, or if you know your session is going to be with some artists or some producers who like to smoke weed or whatever, like keeping them away from that and keeping them like just out of the mix for the most part, especially this small. And that's something that we have always practiced and will continue to practice. Like, y'all don't ever see our kids. We don't even post them online, and like it's about just protecting them, their identity and who they are, and we take that super serious and trying to make sure that they understand like why they can't go to all of the shows, because they want to go, but you know, it's loud, rowdy. There's alcohol.
That reminds me of when we did the Magnificent Mile Lights Parade.
Oh yeah.
And like there were over 2 million people. Yeah. That were there at the parade.
Yeah.
And you know, like I had my own float and I'm singing my song. I'm doing my thing, and here all these people like, oh, maybe. I'm like so excited just to see me, so excited to touch me, all the rest of that stuff. And then like we get to the crib and it's like, hey, because the kids went and they got to see. So it was like, what was your most exciting part about it? Santa?
Mickey Mouse. Never mind that Dada's on this like, massive float.
Like I just got played. But
the best part was Mickey and Minnie.
But you know, like I love that type of stuff though, because it's like, how great is that? Like there's like that's how you know they're kids, because like they don't care. Like, okay, Dada was on a float, so like I'm here to see Santa. I'm here to see Mickey Mouse. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care. Like I'm not worried about him.
Yeah.
And like they enjoyed it. It's not to say they didn't enjoy it, but that's like they still have that kid, that innocent mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important, and like that's kudos to us. Like
Hey.
like keeping our kids like just like sheltered enough and keeping their innocence for as long as possible.
Yeah, and like I think it's great that the kids still maintain a lot of their innocence, because I've seen a lot of children and a lot of people in the industry who handle their children, and I feel like they make them grow up too fast. They're trying to dress them grown and let them listen to all these crazy songs and do all these dance challenges on TikTok, and some of them are innocent, but some of them kids don't have any business doing.
Right.
And we don't really allow our kids to like even dabble in that, because I'd rather them do the hot dog dance from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. If you a parent, you know what I'm talking about. So for me, that is like kid appropriate, and let them have fun, let them enjoy themselves and enjoy life, because they have their whole life to be grown.
Right.
And you have this tiny amount of time to be a kid. Like, don't be in a rush to let them be grown. Let them be little. Let them have no worries. Let them not worry about using a filter or not, or whatever. Like, they have forever to worry about those things. Let them just enjoy life now.
Right. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And in the vein of being a kid and maintaining that innocence, that's how I felt when I got these shoes that I know that y'all have been seeing out here on this podcast. Now, before I dive into the shoes, let me say shout out to Saya Collective. Saya Collective, I mean, they are super dope. Super dope shoes, black owned. Saya stands for Somewhere in America. That's before we even get into the shoes. Let's get into this box.
Come on.
I'm not sure if y'all can see, but this thing is super dope. I mean, look at the logo. Look at the writing right here. Look at this symbol right here.
The vulture.
The culture vultures. I mean, that's super dope. Like, that was something that I guess Saya like really wanted to push. The culture vulture culture with how certain people that aren't of the culture of different races are kind of like stealing the vibes and not really giving credit where credit is due. If y'all want to learn more about them, you can go to www.sirecollective.com. That's www.sirecollective.com. So let's dive into these shoes. I mean, the drip is just crazy. First of all, let me lift up my foot.
Matt has been rocking the Saya shoes this whole time, and your girl.
You see?
I know you see me with the shy town.
with the vultures.
Come on.
At the bottom, I mean,
flexible,
super dope. And also, I'm rocking my Nipsey blue because the anniversary of Nipsey Hussle just passed. So I mean, much respect to him. So let's just dive right into it. Let's dive into, first of all, let's talk about this one right here.
Whew.
This one is so hard. That's why I put this one at the bottom. The ice creams are so crazy.
These are crazy.
So
is
crazy.
this pair yours or mine?
These are mine.
I got the same pair, y'all, because these were too hot. I love these shoes.
And not only, I mean, the colorway is just crazy. I'm not even really that big of a sneakerhead, but when I saw these and the fact that it's black owned, I mean, it's just I had to cop them. And the price range is super dope. If I'm not mistaken, it's around the typical price range.
$220.
Yeah, somewhere around that. You might you might even pay maybe like $300 ball.
Yeah.
They do have their female collection that they've also launched.
I love these, and like if you could feel them, they're like velvety. And they're super high quality. Like, guys, this is like a shoe you would buy at like a high fashion boutique. These shoes are so comfortable and they fit like a glove. Like, I absolutely love these shoes. I highly recommend. If y'all have not bought a shoe from Saya Collective yet,
hard. And then on top of that, they get all their material, if I'm not mistaken, they get them from Europe. So they're going to these European countries, Italian cut, all the rest of that stuff. So it's like these are high quality shoes. And let's just do something super dope real quick, because these ice creams, I can't stress these enough. So we're going to go ahead and do a little magic trick right now. Y'all ready? Ooh!
crazy.
Do y'all see that? I mean, honestly, do y'all see that? Come on, man.
Come on.
Come on. Really? Crazy.
Insane.
Crazy.
Insane.
I mean, I don't even gotta say nothing about that. Let's cut these lights back on. Hard. Hard. I'm telling you,
Just
hard.
took y'all on a little trip.
Hard.
Yeah, hold on, but this one is my favorite one. This is Matt's pair. I haven't gotten mine yet. I ordered these for myself too, but yo,
hard. And you see that? The LA Lakers? You see the colorway?
These are like the Kobe tributes. These are crazy. And look at the bottom. They say Vulture on the bottom. And the sole is super high quality. Like you would think that this was a Nike shoe. But to me, like the quality is that of Nike and maybe even a little better. So if you like Nike shoes, if you like all of these high fashion shoes, go spend your money on a Black-owned brand. I stress this every time we have a Black-owned featured product. Please support Black-owned businesses. We got to support our own, and these shoes
hard
are insane.
Crazy. And just the amount of detail that goes into it. I mean,
and
you know, like
the laces.
The material right here is just super shiny, which I really like.
Patent.
But then like if you lift up your foot, like this almost looks like snake skin.
Yeah, it is.
And that reminds me of the Chicago Bulls, so you know I'm already rocking with that. This color, you already knew Angela was going to pick this colorway because it even matches the chair.
It matches my chair.
and like I said, the ice creams, ooh, these are probably my favorite ones, the ice creams. Other than the other ones that are coming, which are those... the Coachellas.
We just got the Coachella pre-order.
Hard.
As you can tell, we are a Saya family. We love everything about Saya in our family. So he can do no wrong in our eyes. So shout out to him. Shout out to his amazing brand. And please, if y'all haven't gotten his shoes yet, go support. And he doesn't just have shoes, right? He's got clothes.
Yep.
He's got hoodies, t-shirts, pants. I believe he has glasses too.
Yeah.
I think he's doing
watches.
Jewelry. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's got it all. If you want you some dope drip, Saya Collective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's give them the website again and their Instagram too.
If y'all want to know more about them, all you got to do is go to www.sayacollective.com. You can check out all their stuff. It's super dope. Or you can go to their Instagram at Saya_collective. Super dope brand, super dope black brand, super comfortable shoes. I ain't mad at it. The colorways are super dope. Crazy colors. So get in tune with them.
And just to let y'all know, because I know people be talking and twisting stuff, we bought every single pair that y'all see. So we put our money where our mouth is.
Yes,
we are not just saying go buy it and we trying to get stuff for free.
Yes, sir.
We support for real Black-owned businesses. So every shoe that you see, including the ones on our feet, we purchase because we believe in Saya and we believe in supporting Black-owned businesses. So once again, go support our own. Buy Black.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. And with that being said, like let's get back into it. Like, what advice would you give someone who is struggling to balance family life with their career, whether it be in the music industry, entertainment in general, or just any industry?
I think that the biggest thing is understanding that it's going to be sacrifice, understanding that you're going to have to give and take. It's a give and take process. So it's not going to be all roses and posies and rainbows and all of that stuff all the time. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be times where everything is just going so great. There's going to be times when your baby won't stop crying. There's going to be times when your kid has separation anxiety. Like it's going to feel overwhelming. And that's the part where you have to understand that is normal and okay. Because there are a lot of moving pieces constantly when you're balancing being an entrepreneur and owning your own business or label or brand and being a wife or a husband and being a parent. Like there's a whole lot happening in that process and know that like it's okay to struggle and it's okay to feel overwhelmed, but it's going to take sacrifice in order to get things done. And like an example for myself would be when I was in the process of having our third child, Noah. We were at the hospital, and in the midst of all of that going on, we had just gotten a deal offer from Priority Records, and we were on the phone with the lawyer and with our other partner who was working with us at the time with Priority, going over the deal and all of that stuff. And we only had that day to talk about it. But it just so happened to also be the day that I was having our C-section for our son. And I was like, so I have two options. I can either tell them I can't do it and hope that they come back, which more than likely they wouldn't have, or I could try to find a way to do both. And so I told them that I would speak to them later in the day. I scheduled the C-section for earlier in the morning, got up at the booty crack of dawn. Matt was there. And after we went through all of that stuff and the baby was out, I was nursing our little one and talking on the phone with Matt and the lawyer and everybody else doing this deal. And that took sacrifice and that took grit, and it was not easy. But I share that story to say, like, though there was sacrifice involved and it was a lot of work, I found a way to do both. And at the end of the day, we had our healthy son and all of our children were happy and there, and our family and everything was great on the family side. But on the business side, we were able to close the deal. So it was great, and wasn't easy, but it ended up working out.
Let's really dissect that for a second and really, like, are y'all even hearing what's being said right now? Some of y'all have kids and straight out the hospital, y'all ain't no good. My wife had a baby in the morning and is on the phone with our entertainment attorney and people from Priority Records, which is a subsidiary of Capitol Records. So we talking about a major label. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about just some random indie label, whatever. We talking about a major label.
Yeah.
On the phone, like, they over here saying, "Oh, how's everybody's day going? What did you get into today?" And she's, "Oh, I just had a baby. Crickets." Well, when did you have the baby? This morning. Crickets. Because, I mean, most people wouldn't do that. So no. They couldn't even believe it or wrap their minds around what happened. I think some of them didn't even think that it was real until they saw it. And then they were like, "Oh, I mean, she's actually telling the truth." So, I mean, it's hard work. It's dedication. And like, people give up on their relationships too fast, too. I mean, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be struggle. It's going to be sacrifice. And a lot of people, they don't want to go through all that. So instead, like, they just give up on their relationships. And a lot of times when people don't see eye to eye, instead of trying to figure out how to work through that, they just want to just be like, "Oh, well," and then they want to put their foot down and just stonewall it.
Yeah.
And that's not the move, especially like as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs need as much help as they could possibly get and as much support as they could possibly get. So, I mean, if you got a significant other, why not get them involved as much as possible? Because that's when greatness is achieved. But if somebody's trying to do it all on their own, like, there's no balance in that. And all that's going to happen is you burning the candle on both ends because the family needs you and the family life is unbalanced. And then you trying to get this career off of the ground and that's unbalanced and rejecting help. And then the person that could help you doesn't even understand what you're doing, so it looks trivial. Yeah. But at least if they're in the thick of it and y'all are in it together, then it makes a lot more sense. And it becomes, that's not something that so-and-so is doing over there. That's something that we are doing. And it makes a big difference. So I encourage anybody, like, if you have those problems with your significant other, whether it be male or female, like, get them involved as much as possible because it's going to make a world of difference and one will find themselves being elevated. It's not something where it's going to hold you down or set you back. It's going to elevate your situation even more and it's just going to be all the better for it.
And, you know, piggybacking off of that, something that ended up being like a blessing in disguise when we first started working together hardcore on everything was you don't know the full potential of yourself or your spouse, and like you kind of unlock it with one another. And I always knew that my man was talented. He's always been so smart, so talented, but there were like certain things that I didn't even know that he knew about or knew how to do until we started working together. And likewise with him, like there were a lot of things that I just kind of passed off to the wayside as, oh, I kind of know how to do this. I kind of know how to do that. And then when I started doing it with Matt, he was like, hold on.
Right.
That shit kind of looked kind of decent.
Right.
So like then we ended up like joining forces. And so instead of Matt just going hard on like one particular thing and then having to do the next thing and the next thing, I was able to then come and complement the situation. And we've just been like this dynamic duo force ever since we started working together. And every time we move to the next level, we're just stronger and stronger and stronger. So I encourage you that if you want to work with your spouse, or if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend who you want to help on their journey, or whatever the case may be, you just don't know what you could potentially unlock with them. Like, work with them and learn with them. Go on YouTube University and watch videos together. Like, try to find a way to make it fun, because we do it all the time. We'll be watching videos together and being like, man, did you hear what he said here? And taking notes and trying to find ways to apply it, and sharing the knowledge with one another, and trying to make it like almost like some kind of weird date. but you learn so much from the other person, because you get things from watching videos that I don't notice, and I'll hear something and absorb it differently than you may. So then you just get two different perspectives, and as the old saying says, two heads are better than one.
Yeah, they are. And like so we continue to complement one another as we grow, and as we grow as people, and as we grow as professionals. And, you know, like you said, we help to fill in the gaps with one another, because even for myself, like I always knew like I ain't got no business trying to be managing nothing. Like,
know your strength.
Like, I just know that. Like I don't got no business doing that, because I'm not that type of person. And even when I met you, before you were my girlfriend or anything, just when I met you, I was like, man, you would make a good manager. And I said this to her like
he did
a long time ago. And lo and behold, here we are. And like I saw that in you. And I helped to bring
I didn't see it in myself.
And I helped to bring it out of you. And like there are things that you've helped to bring out of me. And I can't tell you how many times like I've just like doubted myself, just musically and everything like that. And you're like, man, like, you know, you can't give up. You got to keep pushing. And, you know, I get frustrated at times and stuff like that. And you've helped to bring a lot of different things out of me and better me as a person and as a musician and all that stuff. So it's like I'm grateful for that. And I wouldn't even have had that had I not been working hand in hand with you. And let's not even get started on all of the different programs and things like that we complement each other on. Like for me, like taught myself how to use Final Cut Pro. Then from there, not only did I teach myself, but then I passed that knowledge down to you.
Yeah.
Learn about all these DSLR cameras and lenses and all the rest of that stuff when I was doing photography for you when you used to model. And then from there, turned around and I was like, you want to know what? I got to pass this knowledge to her. So I passed it to you. And it's like now, like you take dope photos and your photos are better than mine. And like you showing me how to edit in Photoshop and how to do all the rest of that stuff. And it's like just going tit for tat. So it's like we are just completely in-house, like with everything that we do, from the sound engineering to the video production to the audio production to the lighting to the graphic design, because quiet is kept, you do graphic design work and have taught me a lot and have taught me a lot about fashion and things like that, because like I was just out here just bumming because I didn't care. So
you guys didn't see that stage.
Yeah. Now she had me over here like, you know, like doing my thing. So it's like, so it's like we complement one another, and you know, we hire people out for a lot of our stuff now, but we can do that now because we have the knowledge and because we know what we want.
Yeah,
but
we
we
got
wouldn't
the
have been able
means.
to do all of that if we weren't complimenting each other and encouraging one another to a certain extent that allowed us to kind of spread our wings. And when one of us was kind of fatigued or whatever, we had the other person to kind of rest on, and while that person was gliding, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
then you get your energy back, and then from there is like you just keep doing that until eventually you soar to where you want to be.
Yeah. And this whole process is about lifting up the other person and not being selfish. If you're in a relationship or if you're married, then this should be common knowledge, but the idea is to always hold your spouse up and always encourage them and be that beacon of light, especially in the music industry, because this industry is cutthroat.
Yeah.
People will try to chew you up, spit you out, step on you, throw bleach on you,
Yeah.
throw you in the trash, and then put you in the compost.
All right. Real talk.
And then burn it. People are going to attack you in this industry, and if you're doing it alone, it's not to say it's impossible, but it's difficult. And when you have someone who's working with you on things, it eases that burden, especially if they're like in the fray, in the trenches with you. And I've been in the trenches with Matt since when we were burning CDs on our laptops. Y'all, I don't know if y'all are young out there, but for the young listeners, there used to be these things called CDs that music came on. There was no Spotify or Apple or Tidal, and we would burn CDs on our laptops until the little disk drive burned out.
Man.
And I would write on all of them as Matt was burning them, and then we would set a day. And we would go outside on the south side of Chicago and on all the campuses, and we would pass out CDs all day long.
And my favorite tagline was, I know you probably don't want this CD, and I know you're probably going to throw it away inside the garbage, but at least listen to it before you throw it away. using that reverse psychology on people. They be like, I'm going to listen to it because they don't want me to be right. And we accomplished so much when we did that, because I ended up getting mad radio play.
Yeah, it's true.
And I ended up moving, we probably burned 15, 20,000.
We burned a lot of CDs.
Yeah. So
we were buying new stacks every other week or more.
Yeah, just going crazy with it.
Yeah.
Just going crazy. Had people talking about, man, that's your whatever. That was crazy. So it's we knew then right there, if we kept pushing, if we kept working hard together, that we were gonna make some stuff happen. We
had a lot of momentum, and looking back on those days, it's just it's crazy to see how the industry is so different, because I don't recommend passing out CDs. Don't go and try to burn CDs today. That was what worked. When was that? 2012?
2014, 2013?
Nah, it wasn't even 2014.
It
was 2012 or 2011, because in 2014, that was when Spotify and stuff started coming out. But 2011, there was none of that.
Right.
The people were still heavy on the iTunes. That was still a thing. But
Right.
2011 and back, people weren't really. How we consume music was how it used to be, with buying CDs, going to the record store, picking up vinyls, and doing things like that. But back then, we didn't have access to people to help us market and promote, so we just did what we knew that would actually work, which was trying to reach as many people as possible. And we used to print what are they called, little plugger flyers, and we would have Matt's cover art on the front, and on the back it would have his MySpace information. Remember MySpace? And it would have, I think Facebook had just started doing fan pages, so it had that, and YouTube, and I don't think it had SoundCloud. Was SoundCloud a thing back then? And if it was a thing, it was probably really new. But we had all of that at the time, which would be the social media outlets on there. But people, even then, they didn't really follow a lot. It was more so about the music.
Yeah.
And we really knew things started working when the radio play started happening, and when people somehow would start finding you on the street or calling your phone, and you'd be like, who is this? And they'd be like, I heard your song. So
because I put my telephone number inside of one of the songs.
I don't even remember the number.
A 312-884-9375.
Yep.
And that number isn't on anymore, so you try to call
Right.
it if you want.
You can call it. You might get somebody else. Let me know if y'all try to call that number. Let me know who answers.
Right.
Or
Hello.
maybe not.
Right.
Just
Hello.
put about this.
Wire me 1500.
Oh yes, I am Matt B.
Right. Yes. Matt B. but
Play
yeah.
all day.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I just goes to show like the hustle never stops, the grind never stops, and you know, you got to put in your years in order to make this happen. And what better to do that with than someone that you love and someone that you care about? Because at the end of the day, like those are the people that are gonna ride or die for you, and
I fight over mine.
and help you step to the next level.
Y'all think I'm
She
playing?
definitely will. She be wild. She be wild because I'm a chill dude. Like I'm a hothead, but I'm a chill dude. So like I try and stay chill because I know like I'll be on like some Hope Smash type shit. if I get mad, so I just try. I'm like Bruce Banner. I try and stay calm because I don't want to get mad. Because once I get mad, I'm a Hulk. I won't stop. But then like Angela be. Oh, she be spazzing. Like I be like, chill. Like, what you doing?
Nah, people be trying to play too much, and I don't do that. I'm not the type to just let somebody just talk sideways to Matt. Like Matt will just be like, oh, it's cool, it's whatever, and I'm like, is it cool? Cause right now it ain't, and he's not gonna say nothing. But now you got a problem with me.
And even in the music, like what people don't see, and this just came to my head, like especially with the fans and stuff. Like I know people see like the female fans or whatever, and they like, oh man, like how your wife feel about that and all the rest of that stuff. And I'm like, I mean, she's cool about it. Like she don't really be tripping.
Don't care.
But like it happens both ways because while people might see the fans or whatever, like you know, being on some other stuff with me here and there, but like when I tell you these old heads in this music industry be so thirsty.
That should be so awkward.
Man, these old heads in this industry be so thirsty. I mean, man, and like we're not always like, oh yeah, oh this is my manager, by the way, this is my wife. Like, like you know, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, it's just when business is business, business is business. So I was like, oh, you know, this is my manager, whatever. And they, oh yeah, oh how you doing? And like they go straight Mac mode, which is cool by me because at the end of the day, like you know. I'm not tripping. I know what it is and all the rest of that stuff. I know my wife is beautiful, so it's like, you know, somebody sees someone who's beautiful and then they don't even know that you're my wife 9 times out of 10 because that's not how we introduce ourselves. Then it's just like, okay, well, whatever. And then like, you know, my wife suffers from something called pretty privilege. So she opens doors with that. And like I see that she opens doors with that, but then at the same time it's like, you know, I got some male privilege on my end. So you know, when sometimes those doors close, I'm able to reopen them because of that. So it's like we go tit for tat with that and we realize that we don't take it as a disadvantage, whereas like there's no space for jealousy in that. It's like we got to use all angles to our advantage in order to continue to move forward in this music industry. Like even for me, like, you know, I don't really wear jewelry like that. I do, like, y'all might think I wear jewelry like that because you see, like, every time I post, you see me wearing jewelry. But in reality, I really don't. Like, if you just see me 9 times out of 10, I don't have no jewelry on. But, like, it's like, Angela will tell me, oh, we got to film this video. I'm like, all right. And I'll put the jewelry on for, like, 5 minutes, take it off. Or, like, I'll shoot a music video, put it on for, like, an hour, take it off. So, it's like, I don't really wear jewelry like that. So knowing that, like, I don't even wear a ring.
I forget to wear mine.
I just don't. But like also like I got her face tatted on my arm.
Yeah.
So it's like I really don't.
You got my name somewhere on there.
Like
you're
low
not
key,
gonna show that.
Like low key, no, I will. No, but like really, I don't even really have to do that. Like, you know, I show my commitment in another way, and not everyone who is wearing a ring just because you wear a ring doesn't mean you're faithful. So.
That's true. That is
I mean,
true.
at the end of the day, like, you know, I don't wear a ring and I am faithful. There are other that wear rings and then they take them off when they want to do their thing.
Right.
So,
well, although I will say that some of y'all to his point earlier about old heads tweaking, some of y'all have to cool it down because it gets awkward. Because I'm going to tell this quick story. So I'm not going to say where we were because it'll give away who I'm talking about. But we were traveling and we went to this studio. It was a famous person's studio.
I already know who you're talking about.
And we went into the studio and there was a producer in there who was also notable, and he was super nice, and I'm like, wow, this guy is really nice. And he was talking to Matt and talking to me and was like showing me all this stuff in his phone about like it was something he was working on, and I was like, wow, that's so dope, so cool. So we all exchanged information because we were supposed to be working on something. Later, literally like an hour later, we left, and like I get this text on my phone.
Okay, hold on. I didn't know who you're talking about, and now I know who you're talking about.
I get this text on my phone.
Because there's so many of these. Well, go ahead.
I get this text on my phone. Tell me why this dude said, hey, it was so nice meeting you, Angela, and, you know, it'd be so dope to take you out to P.F. Chang's later tonight. And I was like sitting here reading the phone, and I'm like,
and we had our other business partner in the car.
Right, and I was like, did he just so I'm showing Matt like,
I'm dying.
What
laughing.
is this? And I'm like, did he send you that he wanted to go to P.F. Chang's? He was like, nah, that's all you.
We show our other business partner. He in the back seat. He can't stop laughing. And then now we're messing with her, and we like, man, you might as well go to P.F. Chang's. Like,
Give her a free meal.
My man's just trying to wine and dine you. It's cool. Me and Broski, being our other business partner. I was gonna drop his name, but I won't do that. Me and Broski, me and our other business partner. You know, we'll find something to do. Go ahead, Angela. You go to P.F. Chang's. So we gave her a hard time about it. That was.
Oh man, when I tell y'all, I could not stop. I was like, this just asked me to go to P.F. Chang's. And I was like, wow, you have to chill. And I was like, we just met. You don't even know that we're like, that was the funniest part. Like, I don't think he realized that we were married because I didn't say anything about it. Because once again, like, we don't just go like, hi, I'm Angela, I'm Matt's wife, and I'm his manager, and I also own a label. Like, that's just long-winded and unnecessary. So I introduced myself as Matt's manager because that's what I am. But I also just so happen to be his wife. Right. And most people don't like catch those vibes until later. And I guess he just missed all of those signals because he was worried about P.F. Chang's.
The whole time he producing, but I'm making my plan right now.
Man, that orange chicken later gonna be fire. Or maybe he's an egg foo young kind of guy.
Sorry.
I don't know what they
sorry to this man because I know he probably gonna see this video. I'm sorry, bro.
I'm sorry
you had to even go through that.
I'm sorry. It's just so funny. But I'm being respectful because I'm not saying his name, but he's gonna see this one day. He's gonna know who he is. But Muffet, you gotta chill. Like, just because, and I'll say this for all of the women out there, just because you see a pretty girl, please don't just assume that she's single, for one, and for two, actually wants to be bothered. Because 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I don't want to be bothered. Unless you talk about business, I have nothing that I really want to talk to you about. Especially if we're in like a business setting where I'm being introduced to you for the purpose of work or working with Matt or whatever. Like, I have no need to want to talk to you or go to P.F. Chang's. And most women they feel similarly. Like, we just want to be treated the same way. Like, if you're not gonna ask Matt to go to P.F. Chang's, please don't.
Wine and dine me. I'm hungry too.
If you're not gonna ask Matt to go to P.F. Chang's, you should not ask me.
I want some P.F. Chang's.
Right, Matt be hungry. It's okay, baby. I'm gonna cook you some food. Look,
that's cool.
I'll feed your belly.
You can buy me some P.F. Chang's. It's cool. But
I don't want to buy P.F. Chang's. What do they sell at P.F. Chang's?
I don't know if I've ever been to P.F.
Is it Chinese food? I feel like it's Chinese food.
I don't see. Look, now you would have known if you would have gone to P.F. Chang's. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode of Beyond the Music. Being married having kids. It's a fun time. It's lighthearted. But what y'all think? Is what we saying just cap? Do you think that we just capping? Are we just putting on a facade right now? Do we really just have problems in this situation, but we just capping? Do you have problems in this situation, but you just cap? I mean, personally, I don't feel like we capping. I feel like, we just keep it at 100,
I actually have a confession. I'm capping. This whole time I was capping. I actually hate him. And no, I'm just playing.
We filing them papers ASAP. No, but what y'all think? We want to know. Let's let the conversation continue. This is going to do it for this episode of Beyond the Music. This is your boy, Matt B, and you can follow me at Matt B World. That's MATTB World.
And it's your girl, Angela, and you can follow me at Angela V. Benson on Instagram. And I don't have a cool at like Matt. I don't have a world. I'm just in Matt B's world. You feel me? Okay.
And let's not forget Saya Collective.
Yep.
Super dope shoe brand, super dope clothing brand. They doing their thing out here. If you want to learn more about them, all you got to do is go to www.sayacollective.com. That's going to do it for this episode of Beyond the Music. The conversation continues.
Peace.